Hello, everyone. I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we have embarked on creating a virtual exercise series for our senior residents. We partnered with our Project Independence fitness instructors to host these virtual classes, which will allow you to stay fit and healthy by participating from the safety of your home. Please enjoy.
Okay, let's get going. We're going to do a little gentle warm up. I'm going to start off marching to get myself warmer because I just need to find a little bit of warmth right now. But if this is too much for you, you can just walk in place. Marching, so I'm going to start off marching, and then I'm going to slow it down and go to walking just to get my body moving. You can go faster and slower. So if you can march slowly, or faster, but by lifting the leg up higher, it's a little bit more of a challenge. So it's almost about coming on a 1 minute. I'm gonna go to a walking for a minute. Just to slow it down. Then we're gonna move into a little more energized, a little more active, so it's gonna be like the warm up is gonna be a minute, a little bit more difficult, and then a minute of a little less. It's a more of a intensity. We're moving a little more to intensity of exercise. At any time you feel it's too much, just back it off. So we're going to go about a minute on and about a minute off. Changing it up. We're going to go to jumping jacks. 1 minute of jumping jacks, which can be very challenging. So the alternative for that, if that's too much, is half jacks, like this. And you can go fast with the half jack. So when I get tired, I'm going to start coming back to here. Otherwise, I'm going to go with a jumping jack for about a minute. And then in between, I'm going to go with a walking. Because I don't ever really want to completely stop until the end of the workout. I'm slowly wanting to increase my intensity level to get myself warmed up. So it's almost a minute, and I'm going to walk it out. Whew. Okay. I'm just going to slow it down and breathe as I'm going to just let my body calm. The breath recovers that excess oxygen. You get that excess oxygen when you're like running for something and then you stop. Like you're running for a train and all of a sudden you stop and you're on the train and you're like, whoo, whoo. That's just the oxygen that your body needed to run, and then all of a sudden there's none. And you don't want to really go all out and then stop. So the next one, it's about a minute now off, is squats. When I make my feet hip width apart, I squat down and up. So you can go fast with this. You can go a little deeper and slow it down. So I'm going at a moderate pace. Yeah, I can go faster, or I can go deeper. I'm bringing my hips down lower. So I slowly sit the hips down, but coming up, I'm a little more like of an explosive. Inhale, I go down. Exhale on the exertion coming up. Okay, about another 5 seconds. Get the intensity going as I'm going to want to, okay, that's a minute, as I'm going to want to work on core strengthening, working the midsection of our body. That burns fat is important. So the intensity increases my metabolism. And then we're going to move into the core exercises. So if you have a chair or any like stable item, like a table or a couch, something that's not gonna, because I'm gonna put our weight onto that. So you wanna have a pretty solid base. But right now I'm still in my warm-up phase as I'm gonna come into lunges. So from lunges, I step forward. I'm taking my arms straight up. So we're going to do this for a minute. Just wanted to start off with a little bit of intensity, as I like to run, so I like to go outside. If you feel a little bit cold, I'm going to change this. When you're starting, see, I take my arms around, and you feel a little bit cold, that's okay. Because once you get moving, you're going to start to feel warm. I'm feeling pretty warm right now. 10 minutes ago, I didn't. Which is a mistake a lot of what I made when I first started running. I would go, oh, it's cold, let me put another jacket on. Okay, I'm walking it out. So what you want to do is you want to feel a little bit cold at first, and as you warm up, then you'll feel comfortable. Because what happens if you go outside and you really start sweating, and you start to get cold, you'll actually get colder because the sweat will start to go cool off during these, as we head into the winter time. Okay, got another 25 seconds as I'm going to come into another type of jack, which is, again, maybe a little more intense for most people, but as I'm only going to do really the half of it, and you can even go easier with it. So it's like a scissor. I'm going to scissor my arms and scissor my legs. I mean, it doesn't seem hard, but you can do it like a jumping jack, where you're jumping up in the air and doing this. That's really hard. I mean, right now is just get the heart going, get the blood circulating, and you warm up. I recommend for it depends on everybody's different, but the warm-up should be between 5 and 10 minutes. Some people warm up very quickly. Some people, particularly younger people, 5 minutes is probably enough for somebody in their high school age. As we get older, we want the body to be a little bit more intensified. So let's walk it out, because I'm pretty well warmed up now. I'm just going to walk for a little bit, and then we're going to come to using resistance. Right now, it's all what they call body weight exercises. The weight of my body, or the gravitational effect on my body, is creating the weight. So we're almost into 10 minutes right now. If you feel you need a little bit more, you can walk a little bit more. As I'll start to explain my first exercise, I'm going to use a resistance band, a green band that comes in various levels of thickness. So the thicker the band, keep on walking, the more intense the exercise is going to be, the more it's like adding more weight. So I'm going to take the band, I'm just going to stretch the band like this, starting with the first part. Pulling the band in, I'm engaging my upper back. And to make this a little bit more intense, I'm going to do a back kick. So you can go fast or slow. You can even move around a little bit. Some people can actually touch their heels to their back. And if you get tired, we're just going to slow it down. Not kicking up quite as high. And then I'm going to walk it out. As I'm moving from the body weight into adding the resistance band, eventually coming to the weights. So the weight's the same as the resistance band. With the weights though, the more difficulty is obviously with the heavier the weight. But I'm going to come back to the marching, and this time I'm going to take the band, I'm going to bring it around my back, over my shoulder blades, and I'm going to do presses. So I'm going to do these in a few different ways. First, you see my hands are coming shoulder width apart, height. I'll turn to the side. Next time I'm going to do it with my hands coming eye level, and I'm going to start adding a march to it. Again, you can move around with it if you have the space. And then I'm going to make this a little bit more different. I'm just going to take it overhead. Shoulder press, they call it. And I'm just going to come back to walking. So we're going to try to do a few different exercises with each of these, first with the bands, and then ramping it up a little bit more with weights. So how much weight you want to use is up to you. The thing about weights is that it will, the weight you use will change after you've been doing these a while. It seems like the weight gets lighter. It's just that we get better at doing these exercises. So the next exercise, again, I'm going to start with a body weight exercise like we did before, the squats. This time I'm going to, instead of my feet being hip width, I'm taking my feet a little bit wider, and I'm going to bring my hips down. I take my arms up. So when my hips go back, all my weight is falling back. If I did this without moving my arms, I would start to fall backwards, which is good because I want the weight to come back. Using my big muscles. So I take my arms up, that helps counter the weight going back so I stay balanced. Basic squat, which is considered to be one of the best exercises because it uses so many of our large muscle groups from our lower legs right up into the shoulders. And then I'm going to combine, so again, a little bit of the resistance with the calisthenic. This time we're going to go for lunges. Right? So now I'm using the resistance band. This is going to be a little bit more of a little bit harder than before without that. So I'm going to take the band around my back. So I'm going to be like a shoulder presses with the lunge. So I'm stepping forward. I'm going to bend my front knee so it comes out over the ankle. Take the arms up. So we're just going to, this is a little bit more. It's different than the squat. I find this to be a little bit more of a challenge to the balance. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to hold the band. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do an exercise I have done before, but with the band. It's the first time for this class. It's, again, a great core strength. It's similar into muscles that are used to the squat. It, again, is an explosive movement. So the squat, when I bring my hips down, I go down slower, then I come up faster, exploding upward. So this is called a deadlift, which is really important to get the alignment first. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to use the band, but I'm not going to use any resistance to the band because eventually you do this with weight. It's important to keep the spine in a straight line, my ears, shoulders, hips, and my hips over my ankles. So I'm going to do it with the band first so there's no weight. So I want to keep my spine straight as I come down and I explode coming up. When I'm in the gym and I see people doing this, it's something that just makes me cringe. You see a lot of people when they do it, they come like this, round, and they put their spine out of alignment. And oh, so many injuries from that. The spine works really well when every vertebrae is stacked over the one below it. So when it's in a straight line, they're very strong. Adding a little more resistance to this, I'm going to stand on the band. So I'm going to come up, down slowly, and I'm exploding coming up. So I'm using the band. It's also an example as I lower down. It's like my back is also, my back muscles are like a band. As I come down, the band, my band of my body is stretching. As the band, that physical, I see how it gets shorter. My back is actually, those muscles are stretching, creating a lot of force. So when I come up, there's a lot of force coming up. So people just want to do so much weight with this. And it's scary to watch because when I come off, I'm going to release the tension of the band. I'm stepping off and coming up. I'm going to come back and walking. So we'll move on to weights next. Yeah, I'm just giving a caution that a lot of people, they get injured doing exercises. These exercises are good. Somebody once said that there are no bad exercises. There's just good exercises done badly. So I'm going to continue walking with the band, with the weights this time, which is immediately more work. And we're going to go through these basic exercises again: the squats and lunges, deadlifts, and doing some presses. So we'll do presses later. We're going to demonstrate presses using the chair. If you start to get stronger and want to make this more challenging, you can do it with your hands on the floor, which is harder. The lower the hands are going to come, the harder this is going to be. So I'm going to come back to the first squat. My feet a little bit, this time a little closer than hip distance. We did it hip width apart, a little more than hip width, and then now a little less. I'm going to bring the weight in front of me. I sit my hips down. I take the arms up. So when you're changing the positions of your legs, you're going to use the muscles a little differently. And you need to keep doing it. You got to keep switching up and changing how you do things. The muscles are very good at becoming adaptive. It's called adaptation. The muscles adapt to, or the whole body adapts to doing an exercise, which over time, it's going to be less effective. That's why people start using heavier and heavier weights, which is the first way to increase the work. So I'm gonna walk it from here. You're welcome to do some more. Adding weights, always probably the simplest way to do the exercises, or adding onto your exercise, making it harder, more challenging when you've adapted to it. The other way, which is without weights, we just have to do more exercises. So instead of doing 10 to 15 squats with weights, progressively using more weights, you just may have to do 20, 30, 40, maybe 100 squats without weights. And that's also a great way to mix up your exercises so that you're doing something a little differently. Going from using heavy weights to doing a lot with light weights or no weights. Coming into lunges. This time I'm gonna do the lunges one leg at a time. So I'm gonna step forward, and as I step forward, I bend the knee, and I'm gonna take the arms up, a curl. And staying on the same leg. I'm doing curls. So you're probably saying, well, gee, I thought we were doing core strength. Well, yeah, all these exercises are strengthening our core. It may not seem like it to a lot of people. Squats may be one of the best. I'm going to switch. I'm going to go to the other leg, but this time I'm going to take the arms behind me, doing a tricep extension. Because I'll get into it in a minute, or a few seconds, as we'll move into what you may more associate with core exercises. I'm gonna walk it out. Because first off I'll have to give the definition of core strength. Everybody thinks core strength is these areas, the couple of inch circumference around their umbilicus or their belly button. It's more complicated. It's really how the body controls the movement of the limbs. And so I'm really into doing a lot of core exercises because it just makes everything safer. How we move, how we walk, how we lift, how we reach for things. Many ways how people will get hurt. Okay, so we're gonna add another exercise. We did a lot of stuff in front. I like to work my back body a lot. So we're gonna do this a little bit more than for a couple of exercises of working the upper back. I'm gonna take it's like I'm gonna be in a squat. I'm bringing my hips back. I take the arms underneath my legs and I lift them up, squeezing my shoulder blades together. We're going to do this again with the chair. I mean, they're each different. I like doing it both ways. I'll turn to the side so you can see also. My navel is drawn and my back is long. I'm not rounding in the back. I'm firming that umbilicus in to help support my spine. I love doing this. My upper back. There's a tendency of a place that we tend to be very weak. Okay, I'm coming up, and I'm going to put the weights down for a moment. So I'm going to show that I'm going to move over here. My feet are wide, my belly draws in, and I'm gonna do this with lowering my hips down, just like the squat. I put the weights down, using my legs. I see I put one weight on top of the other, and I come up. Just like the deadlift. We're gonna come back and I'm only putting them down for a minute as I walk. I really wanna demonstrate how to do that. You see how I use both legs. It was similar to a squat and a deadlift, how I came up and down, which is core strength is so important. Being able to do these with the right form, using the muscles, makes our lives much safer. I mean, you don't have to lift a lot of weight to hurt yourself. It's just if you do it wrong. We're going to come into a little bit more core work. This is going to get a little bit intense, but I'm going to come almost like into the lunge. It's a shorter lunge. I'm going to take my arms up. I'm going to lift my back leg up and lower down. I'm going to do it faster. It's a little easier. I'm drawing my belly in as I do that. You can do a lot of it. We're going to go through just really one set of these. And I'm going to switch. You can jump and switch, or you can just step one foot forward and the other back. And we're going to go to the other side. Exhale as I bring my leg up and the arm down. Okay, and walking it out. I'm going to come back to the weights again, doing a couple of more exercises. This time, I'm going to pick the weights up. I'm going to use with one hand, my right hand. So I'm standing over the weight. I'm not going like this and coming into an awkward reach. I'm standing over the weight. My left hand is coming on top of my knees. I grab with the other hand and I come up. Even a light weight can, picked up awkwardly, can cause a problem. This time I'm going to go back to deadlifts. I'll turn to the side, because I want the hands close to my legs. My spine is straight. And I lower down slowly. Exhale, explode, come back up. Again. Okay, let's keep it going, slowly down, exploding up. Yeah, when done right, I've seen people lift well over 400 pounds. Yeah, sounds like a lot, right? I'm gonna do 2 more. You're welcome to do more. I'm gonna walk it out, so I'm gonna come into a different variation of what we did before with the leg, lifting the leg up, working the midsection. So what is the most that anybody's ever lifted in a deadlift? That's a good trivia question. Okay, I'm gonna come back to this stance like this. This time, I'm gonna lift my one arm up and one leg. So I'm gonna take my left arm up and my right leg, and I kind of twist. Again, I'm going to switch sides. You can jump. We'll do that some seconds. Second side. Okay. Whew, walking it out. Well, the heaviest deadlift was over 1,000 pounds. It was a guy that was a television star, actually. He was in a long-running series, The Game of Thrones. They called him the Mountain. I think he was like 6'8" and over 300 pounds. Very impressive to see. The weight just bounces like this when he picks it up. Oh. I won't even try to say his name. One more exercise. I'm gonna keep the chair to the side and come back with the weights. One more set of was called a reverse fly. We had to do the regular fly. You would have to lay on the floor to do that. You need to be a little bit up off the floor. I'm working my way to the edge of the chair. And I'm going to lower my ribs down on top of my thighs. I take my arms, again, underneath. Remember, we did this standing. Now I'm going to take my arms up and slowly lower down. My head was wanting to drop a little bit. It's such an important place. A lot of people don't consider their upper back a core strengthening, but it really is responsible for not only the movement of the arms, but the position of the head. Going down, coming up. But because what happens with a lot of people is their ears want to keep pushing forward and they round. You need the strength in the back to pull your ears back over the shoulder. I'm going to stand up with the weights, which I recommend doing without trying not to use your hands to stand up. I'm getting a little momentum by bringing my shoulders forward over my knees. I just straighten back up, just like a squat. That's why it is so important, because maybe the squats are so natural to what we normally do. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more just for my shoulders. As we're heading into the warm down or cool down. This is a place where, myself included, we don't put enough emphasis into. The finishing, I'm going to put the weights back down. I'm on my chair. Again, I stack them so they don't roll away. I'm going to start to stretch my muscles that we've been using. So I'm going to start with my legs. I'm going to do these standing today. I'm going to step forward, and then I'm going to straighten my front leg. See how I bend my back leg? I'm putting my hands on the bent leg. It's a little more stable. Stretching the back of the leg as I straighten it. And coming up, I'm going to switch. I'll go to the other side. I'm going to straighten this leg as I put my hands on the opposite leg. I know I've done it too. I used to like to put my hand on the leg I'm straightening to try to get a little bit straighter. The problem is you could possibly, using your body weight, straighten it too much. Going a little bit beyond the range of what the body was meant it to go could cause a problem. You want to minimize all those risks that we go through. Okay, now stretching the important front of the leg. You can use the chair or a wall, a table, something that's stable, or doing it without. Much harder. I'm bending my leg, I'm grabbing the ankle, I'm bringing my knee back and trying to touch the standing knee. Back to center. Ooh, okay, second side. So I'm also getting a little bit of balance practice doing this. Okay, coming back to center. I'm going to stretch a little bit of the back and inside of the legs by making my legs wider. I'm just going to slowly bend from side to side, stretching the inner thighs. I get a little bit into my back, my lower back, and the glute muscles, all the muscles that we use. I'm just gently going back side to side, and I'm going to hold this. I'm bringing my hips back. You really may not be able to see it from here. Keeping my spine straight. Such a good time to stretch the muscles. It's a shame to waste the opportunity. The muscles are nice and warm, and they can lengthen them a little more when they're warm. Coming back up. Okay. I'm going to stretch the front of my shoulders. I'm going to interlock my fingers behind the back and lift my chest. Stretching, I want to arch my spine backwards just a little bit. I don't do that very well. I want to stretch the front of from my abdominal area through my chest. They have their own level of how far they can go back. It's, you may be able, a lot of people can do better than that, than I do. That's not really my strong point. Now I'm taking my arm into my chest. I take my opposite arm, hold the back of the arm, and I'm stretching the side of the arm into my back. And I'm switching, gonna take the other arm in. Get a little bit of a stretch into the back of the arm too. We didn't do a lot of what's called the tricep extension. We did one brief set of them. Want to still get a little bit of a stretch there. But the big area is the upper back that we did a few times. I'm going to take my arms. I'm going to take one arm over the other. See how my elbows cross? I'm going to grab my upper back. I can grab my shoulder blades. And if you can get this far into it, you can wrap your arms around each other. But if your arms are not far in and you come up here, you just have nothing. You want to keep the stretch in the upper back. And then I'm going to switch and do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to finish off. We're just going to do a little breathing. I'm just going to take my arms around and up. As I inhale, exhale the arms down. Inhale, up, exhale, down. We'll do this for a little while longer, and we'll do this next time, and we'll meet again next time. Thank you. Have a great day.